Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Body Shop. I am your host, Andre Brick Sinclair, along with my in-studio co-host, Mr. Brian Canone. What's going on, B? How you doing today, man?
I'm not bad. Not bad. I'm glad you got me my coffee.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, man, I try to do what I can do, you know what I mean? Okay, so we're about 30 days away. April 16th.
Yep. 3.5 weeks.
Okay.
To the show.
All right. Now, I'm expecting big things this year. I know you're expecting big things this year.
I want big things this year.
All right. So, speaking of big things.
Yes.
Okay. What I want to know is, when I'm going backstage, I don't just want to be shot by any photographer.
Right.
See, I want one of the best.
Okay.
I know we got Jason Ellis.
Yep.
Okay. I know Greg is coming down there.
Yeah.
All right. But I got a friend of mine in the studio today.
Okay.
He's walking in right now, putting in the headphones.
All right.
I want this man to have an all-access pass. He's going to shoot me. He's going to shoot some people. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Body Shop, Mr. John Ryan.
Thanks, Andre. Thanks, Brian. Always a pleasure. This is great. I mean, wow, less than a month. I mean, this is going to be the biggest show ever. I mean, amazing. And they just keep getting better every year.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
That's true.
Well, I'll tell you, the Tony Horton workout sold out.
Did it?
Yeah.
You sold that out?
We sold out.
I thought that was a pretty smart move of yours to use that Charlie Sheen show as a warm-up for your show. Charlie's going to open for you, right?
See, there you go. See, that's what I'm talking about.
He's winning.
Well, All right. So, John.
Yeah.
Question for you.
Sure.
I've had interviews with other photographers. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I always ask them about, the release forms that they need to sign.
Right.
And, just stuff like that they typically would have and athletes sign off on. And other stuff, TFP, which is time for prints and CDs and so on and so forth. But I never get into another aspect of it, and that's pretty much what I want to do with you today. Sure. So I want to talk a little bit about the lighting and studio, outside shots, cameras, and settings. Okay, so we're going to lead into all of that. So,
can I say one thing?
What's up?
The one thing that I really like about John Ryan is that he's not afraid to share with you what he's doing with the lighting so that you understand it.
Okay.
I've seen other photographers shoot that as I'm watching, they're like, they don't like the fact that I'm watching and trying to learn from what they're doing.
Right.
And he's very open to share on the lighting, and that's a great thing to find out from him. I really like that he's open to share that.
All right. So as we're going in and Brian and myself are discussing lighting, like what makes the lighting so special and such an important factor in taking photography shots?
Well, it's all about the light. The light is the most important thing. You have people who have spent the last year wringing every possible cut and detail into their bodies, and then you get somebody who uses a real soft light, and then they look like me.
He's in great shape.
Yeah. It basically wipes everything away. You have all those beautiful cuts and definition are just going to disappear. So you want real good directional light.
Okay.
You want light that is going to accentuate their bodies, to really show the work they've put in. And I mean, it's amazing what these competitors have done with their bodies. It's phenomenal.
Right.
And that's something they have to really be aware of. If the light is really, really soft and really, really, really big, unless it's like a huge silver umbrella, it's not gonna make them look their best.
Okay.
It's like the best time. I mean, you look at the magazine covers. The best pictures seem to be like end of the day, and the light is coming, that sun is coming right in on them, hitting them hard, and throwing shadow. If there's no shadow, there's no definition.
Right.
Interesting.
That way, you get something like that, then you get the magazines going, oh my God, we got to create muscle. We got to create cuts. And then the retouchers get in there and they start playing.
Photoshop.
Absolutely.
Photoshop. That's something
right.
That's something that I personally don't like, and from what I've I remember about some of the guys that you've taken shots from that
Right.
you really don't use the Photoshop software. Like what you see is typically what you get with these people.
Right. Well, I use it, but I try to get it right in the camera first.
Okay.
Because, especially with digital, you can see what's going on. If it doesn't look right, you change it till it is. I
Right.
mean, I always feel that if I have to Photoshop somebody, I'm shortchanging them. I didn't get it right in the camera.
Wow. Okay.
You know, that's important. There's too many guys out there who rely 100% on we'll fix it later.
Wow. Okay.
Well, a big difference too, and when I always encouraged people every year, I've always encouraged people to do the backstage studio shots.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be on the stage, I guess, in the action shots or holding their trophies, but there's so much going on out there to have that perfect shot to actually submit to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a shot that's on stage, you can't crop out everything behind someone and submit that to a magazine, and they're probably not going to want a stage photo. They're going to want a studio shot that they could crop the background out of.
Okay. All right.
That's right. It's just that's another thing too is when you're on stage, you've got other people right next to you, and especially if it's a pose down,
Yeah.
you could have somebody walk right in front of you when that shutter clicks.
It's very interesting. Okay, now as we're talking about the studio, all right, I'm gonna just piggyback off of the lighting and then lead into the studio.
Okay.
Okay, so you mentioned that you don't want to have the light be too soft.
Right.
Now, on the other spectrum of that, can the light be too bright and drown you out, or what?
Absolutely, but usually when you get somebody who's washed out completely,
Okay.
that's a sign of a poor exposure. That
Right.
means the photographer wasn't paying attention.
Okay.
Because digital is so... It's either right or it's wrong. There's not a lot of in between, like the old days when you shot film with negatives and they could
Right.
fix it at the lab by printing it darker.
Okay.
Digital, it's got to be right. If you're getting images where you're looking pasty, or there's no real shadow, photographer overexposed you. Easy to fix. I mean, they should have been paying attention to their sensor, to looking
Okay.
at the screen on the back of the camera.
All right. So as we're talking about overexposure, the different types of light, a photographer's paying attention.
Right.
How does all of that transcend into a studio shot? Like, should the backgrounds be a solid color? Should it be white?
Well, it depends. That's a big toss-up. Most magazines are going to want a light color to a neutral color because that allows them to drop their logos in, to drop the teaser text along the sides, and it doesn't compete with the subject, meaning the bodybuilder, the fitness girl, whatever. It doesn't compete with them at all. That's what you want. You don't want these, the classical portrait backgrounds. It's wrong. It's not the right stuff. You want something clean and neutral to where you shine.
Right.
And that's another important thing. Magazines, if they got to cut you out and drop you in another background, that lessens the chance that they might take that picture.
Right.
The more work they do, especially in this economy, they got to pay a retoucher.
Right. Oh, man.
Again, it's easier to get it right the first time.
And that's something that you obviously preach.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't want the background to interfere with the person at all. I love those shots on the beach.
Right.
Where you've got, the rocks and you've got somebody out there posing. That's great.
Yeah.
But how can you use it? I mean, what are you showing? You showing a fitness competitor or a bodybuilder on a beach?
Right.
What are you showing? The beach or the person? So I'm a real aficionado of studio lighting.
Okay.
I think you have more control, and you can take that control on location too, but you have to make sure that your backgrounds are very, very uncluttered.
Okay. So you obviously prefer the studio shots.
I do.
Well, he just shot down your idea of shooting yourself on the beach.
Don't worry about it. I'm gonna still do it.
I think stuff like that is great for comp cards.
That's right, ladies. That's right. In the moonlight, I will be there. I will not wear the bodybuilder briefs, though. They don't make them in my size. I'm gonna wear the MMA shorts. I'm gonna put the baby oil on. Me and John Ryan, we're gonna go out there. We're gonna do the 1-2 thing. We're gonna be in the studio, and then we going to the beach. All right. All right. So let's discuss studio shots
Right.
versus outside shots.
Well,
or outside shoots, I should say.
okay. Well, simply put, studio, you have complete control.
Mm.
You have complete control of how the subject's skin looks, how their cuts and definition is. Plus, it gives them the fact, you can do it rain or shine.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to wait for the weather. And in the studio, it's a lot more relaxed because, you don't have to do 300, 400, 500 shots to get those 5 or 6 you need. You're controlled. Your shoots will go quicker. You're more efficient. Sometimes these shoots can be very tiring for the subject.
Yes.
I mean, especially if they have to hold a pose and they're flexed. That's going to wear them out worse than any workout in the gym. But on the other hand, location.
Right.
You get the right locations, and I think locations are good for everybody, but I think they really shine for the females.
Okay.
I think that they really stand out. It's more. Oh God, this sounds really trite, but it's more of an organic feel. You get the girls out there; they're looking good. Their curves, it works with the natural setting. The guys look better. I mean, you get them into an old factory with a lot of chains and stuff.
Yeah,
they look
yeah.
rough. They look rugged.
See, that's the kind of
what you
shoots I
want.
like. I'll be honest with you. Like, those are the type of shoots I like. I come from the bodybuilding background, but I'm also a power lifter by heart. So when I see the chains and the rusty bars,
Yep.
You just start thinking, I could be standing there in shorts, all oiled up,
I got a great set
next
of
to
legs.
the rusty chain.
That's right. I got a great set of legs. Why not?
That's right. That's right.
You just everywhere you look, you just keep thinking, I could be taking a picture over there in the moonlight with the rusty chains in the warehouse.
Hey, you know what? As long as
With the fancy car, give me the sports car. I'll take a picture with it.
nah, give me a big truck. I don't care about no sports car. Who wants a sports car? What real man wants a sports car? Nah, fellas, I'm just kidding out there. All right, calm down, calm down. Unless your car costs 6 digits, don't get mad at me.
See, now that's where I think the girls have it over the guys right now.
Okay.
Because the girls tend to go more towards the modeling aspect, so their pictures tend to be all over the place, all kinds of stuff. They're looking great. They're showing off their bodies, the work they've done. The guys, I mean, there's only so many poses, your compulsory poses. I think you're starting to see it a little bit. You take the guys and you put them in locations like an old factory, maybe with overalls, and you have it draped down so you
Yes.
show their abs, their chest, stuff like that. Maybe give them a sledgehammer, maybe have them holding onto a rope, something like that. I think it adds more appeal, both to the fact that they have superb development now. They've worked at it. Plus, I think it also adds an element of versatility.
Right.
It's not just a really jacked guy standing in front of a plain background.
Yeah, doing a crab most muscular, doing a
Right.
front double bicep.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Now, what are your favorite types of shots? Like, personally, what do you like to shoot the best?
Well, see, now this is where I'll switch a little bit. I like the studio, but I like to go more on location to like the old factories,
Okay.
to like the alleys where I can bring light in and create the picture I want with a controlled background that I want. Because I think, again, it contributes more to making the pictures stand out from the crowd.
Right.
If you've got 10 pictures of a guy doing most muscular, and one of those pictures is him standing in front of a brick wall with a really dynamic light coming in, you're going to kind of lean towards that guy and go, wow, these are all the same. This one's different.
Right.
He
right.
must be better. And maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But
Okay.
I think that's what I like to do. I like to add an element that's not so much studio, but still very controlled.
Okay. Okay.
It's nice to have a unique picture,
Yeah.
not the same one that everybody else has. Even when you do find a nice setting, it's good for the photographer not to take like 10 people's picture in the same spot and see it over
Absolutely,
again either.
absolutely. You pay attention to magazines, you can start seeing that same beaches show up over and over and over again.
All the time. All the time. All the time. That, I guess it goes back to what I said. Like, I prefer, the dark alley shots that
Right.
you were talking about. The chains being dripped over you. Like, there's a shot that I want to do, which I'll talk to you about off the air. 'Cause I don't want anybody else to come out there, me start stealing my ideas. Brian's gonna use it.
No.
Okay, I'll tell you. At the gym I go to, Armstrong Fitness, okay, we have a separate room in the back that is set up where I actually train guys for MMA, martial arts, and boxing.
Right.
All right, and I love the speed bag. And I would love to get a shot of me, like on the speed bag or near the speed bag, little flex shots or something like that. See what kind of elements that we could bring together, with that type of look. Because it's not, and pardon me for saying this, it's not a pretty boy gym.
Right.
Okay, it's not a gym where you're going to go in there and you got the purple and yellow background with a fist coming through it. Hate that logo. It's not the one where you want to go do cardio and you got to sign up on a clipboard. Thank you, Bally's. It's one of the last few gyms,
right,
not fitness centers. Okay, and I like that. I like that dungeon type of feel. To
Sure.
me, it's like that old school throwback type of training. Now, what can you do as far as cameras and settings in a spot like that?
Oh wow. Well, depending upon how big the room is, you can do a tremendous amount of things. But again, it comes into how big the room is. If it's a small room, you get into wide-angle lenses.
Okay.
And that's where you start distorting people.
Mm.
Now, with that shot for the speed bag you're talking about, I mean, that'd be great because you could come in from, the waist up, show the abs, show the arms all flexed,
Right.
hands going in there. Make it gritty, make it dark.
Okay.
A little sweat pouring off. I mean,
that's right.
I'll throw a spotlight in there.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to look good. Ladies are going to be going, oh, my God, what's his phone number?
Yeah, I mean, ladies, is the phone number is 1-650-ASK-FTNS. That's 1-650-ASK-FTNS. And with that, we'll be right back after these words. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Body Shop. I am your host, Andre Brick St. Clair. My in-studio co-host is Mr. Brian Canone, and my special guest, photographer extraordinaire, Mr. John Ryan. Now, before the break, we was talking about lighting and why is it so important? What is it about lighting that actually makes your shot great? And John touched on the fact that you don't want too soft of lighting. You don't want too bright of lighting where you get washed out. We briefly discussed the studio versus outside shoots and which he prefers and why. Some things about favoritism, controlling the shots, outside shoots. It brings a different element of like grit and just something special to that shoot. And before the break, I was asking him about the cameras and settings that he would use if I brought him into the gym that I train at and get on a speed bag. But I want to switch gears for a minute, John.
Sure.
Okay. Our listeners at the Body Shop, a lot of them, their goal is to eventually get on a magazine cover. Some are just trying to get into a magazine.
Right.
Now, there's a big difference. A lot of people keep saying, well, if I'm in a magazine, I'm good. I'm like, well, no, because they may just do a feature on you. Okay, let's talk about what size image is the best one to take to submit to the magazines.
Sure. Well, the best size to give a magazine is the biggest you can give them.
Okay.
300 DPI.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because glossy magazines use what's called a 150-line screen. That's how fine the resolution is when they print it. So basically, you take 150 and double it, 300 DPI.
Sounds good.
Conveniently, most high-end digital cameras produce 300 DPI images, so you're good right there. Most magazines are 8.5 by 11.
Right.
A little bigger, a little smaller, but usually 8.5 by 11. So what you want is an 8.5 by 11, 10 by 12, something in that ballpark, 300 DPI, because that way they can make it smaller if they need to.
Okay.
You give them a small image and they got to bring it up. Sometimes you lose.
That is
Quality
true.
goes down.
That is true. That is
Always
true.
better to make their life as easy as possible, because the more work they have to do on your image, the less likely they are to put it in the magazine. If it's like just drops in and says, here I am, they're ready to go. All they got to do is maybe fit it in a hole somewhere on a page
Okay.
or drop their logo in, and now you're the next cover.
Nice. All right, now let me just.
You know what I liked was okay.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
You know what I liked was how you gave the idea of a picture you wanted to create.
Right.
And I don't see a lot of these people, subjects who want their pictures taken, actually have that much input in what
Absolutely.
he just said. Like, I'd love you to take me here and get this shot. Let's look at it first. Tell me what kind of lighting we need. Tell me what I need to do. Do I need to be sweaty on my head? What should I wear? Like, he's thinking about his favorite shot just for himself before he even thinks I want to take the shot for a magazine. So that's pretty interesting.
That's amazing, and that's a really good point. Collaborations always work better.
Right.
Because there are times when the first time I ever see somebody is when they walk in my studio. I have no idea. And I've done this more than once. I've gone to the makeup artist and go, I have no idea what to do with them. Just make them look good and we'll go from there. You know, but it's always great when you have somebody who has a clear, concise idea of how they want to go.
Right.
You know, you get a lot of the fitness girls. You know, they kind of know how they look best, and that's how they go. The guys, I think the guys have as much potential as the girls, but they don't utilize it. You know, they know how they think, because, you know, you spend time in front of the
Of
mirror.
course.
This is how I look good. This is what I look good. This is what I want to do. Well,
Right.
if that's what you want to do, the time to bring it out is when you're in front of the camera.
That's right.
You know, you bring the clothes, you bring the outfits. We talk about locations ahead of time and go,
Right.
and then we can get images that are dynamic,
Right.
saleable,
Okay.
represent you the best.
I like that.
You know, because
Plus,
ultimately,
you're proud of them because you had input in thinking about what you want to look like, and then you create that picture. And
Right.
even if you just get, like, for you, Andre, you're going to put it on your wall. You know, at least you. you know,
He's talking about my Facebook wall. Talking about the Facebook wall.
absolutely,
and your
absolutely.
bedroom wall. A big picture of yourself on the ceiling.
Hey, that means I got to take the mirrors down, man. Come on. We're keeping this a family show right now, you know?
But you know that's the thing too, is nobody is going to promote you as good as you promote yourself. And I think
Yes.
if you can give the people that you're working with good tools, and by good tools I mean good images,
Right.
it makes their life easier, makes your life easier,
Yeah.
and things start to come together.
Definitely agree with that. Now, for those of you that are listening, okay, and you're hearing Brian, you're hearing John, you're hearing myself, and, you know, we're kind of piggybacking off of each other a little bit. Even though you have a clear, concise thought of what you want your photo to look like or the shots that you want, that in no means does that mean that you're going to go in there and be bossy. You're going to go in there and be like, no, I want this, I want that, I want that. If you have, let's call them a client. A client
Sure.
walks in, and that's the way they are. They're extremely demanding. They know what they want, but they're just being a little, you know, overt. Mm-hmm. Would you ask them to leave? Would you talk to them?
Always talk to them first, because you know, a lot of times stuff like that is more a case of nerves than just overtly bossy.
Right.
I mean, I have had a few people that were a little demanding, but again, it's because they were nervous. They've been to other photographers and didn't get what they wanted. So every time, you know, they're gun shy.
Right.
So they figure, well, the best way to go in there is to take charge right from the start and say, this is what I want. I had one client one time who did that, and I said, well, here's the camera. You just tell me when you're done. You know, I mean, sometimes you have to do that, and that actually breaks it right there. It's
Right.
like, okay, now we can start from a level playing ground.
Okay.
What do you want? Okay, that'll work if I do this.
Yes.
Or it won't work because we're not in the Astrodome. I can't do what you want. But, you know, that's why I say collaboration is important. I mean, the more that you can convey your idea to me, the better I can help you realize that idea.
Right.
Because, you know, ultimately, if I make you look good, it makes me look good, and that's what you want. Everybody has to look good.
I totally agree with that. Totally agree. Okay, now let's get back to my original question.
Sure.
And I'm going to tie everything in. When I said, you know, the size and type of image to actually get submitted to a magazine,
Right.
you said roughly 8.5 by 11. Okay,
300 DPI.
300 DPI. For those of you that don't know what 8.5 by 11 is, I'm not trying to be funny. It is the size of a standard sheet of, plain white paper. Okay, so that's 8.5 by 11. All right, 8.5 width-wise, 11 inches vertical. There you have it. Now, what if? And I'm asking this question because
Sure.
somebody may think this is okay. Okay, they say I don't want to print the photo out and have an 8.5 by 11 print. I take some shots. I got a digital, camera, and I submit the photos online. So the producer or the photographer now has a digital image.
Sure.
Click on that link, open it up, and they can blow it up to whatever size that they choose to. Do you recommend that?
Well, there's a few problems there.
Okay.
Now, my monitors, my computers are all calibrated, so what I see on the screen is very accurate color. Unless your monitor's calibrated, you don't know. You may
Right.
go, why am I blue? Well, on my monitor, you're not. On yours, you are.
Okay.
Another thing, too, is most magazines, well, all magazines, except what's called a JPEG
Okay.
file. Now, JPEG has a unique tendency that when you open it up, it's now 30 by 40 at 72 DPI. Well, we just said 300.
Right.
Okay, well, 30 by 40 at 72 is roughly 8.5 by 11 at 300. It's the
Okay.
same thing. It's just
Okay.
now it's huge, and you're going to go, oh my God, it's the wrong size. I can't do this. No, you can. It's
can.
fine.
Right.
I have no problem with people submitting their stuff like that. I think it works fine. You just have to be real careful who you're sending it to. Some magazines, they have really great email filters that will strip any attachment right off. So now you got an email that goes in, hey, look at my pictures, and there's nothing there.
Wow.
You want to call ahead, or email them without any attachments to say, I'd like to submit. Here's my files.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we know the standard size,
Right.
8.5 by 11. Okay, we know that if you choose to do it online, make sure your picture is in a JPEG form.
Right.
Okay, because now, can a picture be submitted in a TIFF form?
Absolutely. If
Okay.
you can't email TIFFs.
Right.
Not easily anyway. You have to put them in a folder and compress the folder and then send it. You can do it.
Okay.
But JPEG is pretty much the standard for email. So that's what you want. If you're going to send TIFFs, send them on a CD.
Send them on a CD.
CDs are cheap.
Right.
Just make sure
What's the difference with a TIFF? What's that?
Well,
Now, I know a PDF. PDF you can't change, right?
Right.
The image
Right.
is the image, and that's it.
Right.
right.
So is that safer to send a PDF knowing that people can't use it, or would you send something
Well,
that says proof first?
Actually, you send me a PDF, I can open it in Photoshop and do anything I want to it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
all right.
So that's not a problem. A JPEG is a compressed format.
Right.
So it takes like a 10 meg file and compresses it down to a 3 meg file to make it easier to email. Opens up, it's still a 10 meg file. It just puts it in a nice little package.
Okay.
A TIFF, if it's 10 meg, it's 10 meg, it's 10 meg all day long. It's not going to change.
Right.
A TIFF is what's called a lossless format, because every time you open up a JPEG and do something to it
Yeah.
and resave it, you throw in just a little bit more away. So eventually you can work your way down to you have nothing left.
Oh, well, okay.
So you never
Okay.
want to
Wow.
never want to do anything like that. You want to open it up, make sure you're doing your work on a JPEG, on a TIFF or a Photoshop file,
Right.
then save it as a JPEG and email that file.
See, and there you have it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Some free tips,
Absolutely.
some tips that you aspiring photographers may not have known. Okay, this is what I love about what I do here on FTNS Radio is I will ask the questions that you have in your mind, but you may not say. And for instance, Brian is a great photographer. Okay, he is starting out.
Yep.
You shot a few shows, and to me, your images are amazing.
Thanks.
But you didn't know what the TIFF was, and
Right.
and John's explaining that. So if it may seem that okay, well, where's he going with these questions?
Yep.
Believe me, they will get answered because somebody wants to know this.
Sure.
All right, now let's move on a little bit. somebody wants to get into a magazine or just wants to do something like that, how important is it for them to first, actually, let me rephrase the question. Is it first important that they make an appointment with the photographer and just take a whole bunch of shots and then randomly pick out 10 or 12 and say, okay, here, this is what I want, send it out? Or should they at least shoot with the photographer in the hopes of establishing a portfolio?
Actually, I think it's a little bit of both. But
Okay.
let me take it from the point where they've got some images. You know, whether it was for a portfolio shoot or whether strictly for a magazine submission. Before I would do anything, I would look at the magazines and go, okay, these are the magazines I want to be in.
Right.
You look at a few months worth and go, okay, what kind of stuff are they putting in there? You know, magazines are very predictable. They're like people. They run the same stuff over and over again. They might change a little bit, change the
Right.
location,
Yep.
change who the person is, but they're pretty predictable.
Yeah.
They're comfortable with what their content is. You want to find something, or you want to do images that fit that magazine. I mean, if you're doing hardcore, off the wall, bending steel bars over your neck, it's a pretty good bet you're not going to be on the cover of Oxygen. Just not going to work.
If you're a guy, I can pretty much tell you you're not
You're
going
a
to be on
girl,
the
you're
cover of
definitely
Oxygen.
not going to. But yeah, but you know, that's the thing, is you want to tailor your submission to the magazine, because that just ups your odds, because there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people sending pictures in every month. Now, you go through the average magazine, they're focused on maybe 4, 5 people.
Right.
Well, what happened to all the rest? People go, wow, these are great, and they had that little circular filing
Oh, yeah.
can right next to the desk, and that's where those pictures went.
Starts with a
Or-
T,
yeah.
ends with H,
Right.
runs with cash.
Or they hit a delete button.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
they're just going to take the pictures that fit what they need.
Okay.
Occasionally, you'll get somebody who'll go, hey, these are great shots. Unfortunately, we can't use them. This is the kind of stuff we can use. Go back and redo that. I think art directors, talent directors are more than willing to talk to you.
Okay.
You know, and that's where shows are good, because, you know, you get magazines in there, you get people to talk to. Find out what they're looking for. Get an honest opinion. I mean, work your images the way that you want to go.
Okay. That's great sound advice. Now, would you recommend that somebody use their pictures if they want to start out their, let's say, their own personal training business, or they want to, you know, just have their image on a business card to pick up ladies, because we know guys are doing that nowadays, okay? Would you recommend that they started out doing that for business cards for business purposes, or should they initially, if they can't make a magazine, that they put out their own calendar and try to market it that way? And before you answer that, I got to take a break. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned to The Body Shop. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Body Shop. I am your host, Andre Brick Sinclair, along with my in-studio co-host, Mr. Brian Canone, and my special guest, Mr. John Ryan. Now, before the commercial break, we touched on what size your photo should be if you want to submit it to a magazine.
As big as possible.
Yeah, as big as possible. There you go. Gold star for Brian. All right. Yes, the answer is as big as possible, but, you know, your standard size should be 8.5 by 11. Again, if you don't know what that is, it's the standard sheet of, you know, plain white copier paper. All right. We talked about the best way to submit your photos. If you don't want to print it out, you can, you know, email it, but email it as a JPEG or a TIFF. We learned that the JPEG can be manipulated in certain ways and eventually get stripped away. And then we talked about, you know, getting your shots for a portfolio. Now, I was jokingly asking you before the break, should someone get their image printed on like a business card and use it for business purposes, you know, personal training or boot camp style, so on and so forth? Or is it better for them to, you know, maybe take 12 shots, put it together as a calendar, and then market themselves out as a model, even if they typically are not?
Sure. You know, there's no such thing as bad self-promotion.
Right.
You know, the more you promote, the better things go your way. As far as calendars, yeah, Thing is, calendars get real expensive. Real expensive.
Right.
You're printing out just one. That's like, that could be the price of a new car.
Wow.
Unless you're doing it yourself, in which case you can save some money. But I firmly believe that you should do stuff like that. One of the best things is a Facebook fan page.
Okay.
You can control it. People can't really write on your wall.
Right.
You just put your pictures up, and everybody goes, "Hey, this is my stuff." You rotate it through, and you can
Right.
actually give out a link to prospective magazines and say, "Hey, here's some of my newest stuff." It's a safe way to do it. Plus, you start to build a buzz for yourself. You get a lot of friends. People come through, and you know how Facebook friends everybody.
That's right.
They suggest everybody you come through, and they start looking at your stuff. How hard is it for to get 5,000 friends on Facebook?
Well, if you're not that popular.
Well, yeah. It was
No, you
but even fan pages, I don't even believe they have a limit.
Right.
I think you can have hundreds of thousands, millions of friends on a fan page.
Yeah, when you're on a personal page, you're limited to 5,000.
Okay.
And you can't email out to people.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, if you have 5,000 friends, right?
I'm close to that, by the way.
You can't send an email to those 5,000 people.
Okay.
Only one at a time. Or I think it's 20.
Yeah.
You can send out 20 at a time. So some people, I was just told this the other day, you can make lists of 20. I think Carmel told me that.
Yeah.
And but if you have a fan page, you can send a message to 5,000 friends in one shot.
Okay.
And it's better to have because you're not limited to the 5,000. You can go well above it.
Right,
So
and
it's really good.
not to. One of the things too is you put new pictures up there. Every person on your fan page is now going to get a notification that, hey, there's new pictures.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, it's a great marketing tool. I mean, use it. Why not?
Right. Well, I mean, okay.
You get your iPhone and you're in the club and you show ladies your your fan page. Look, I got over 1 million friends.
I mean, you know what? Okay. See, that sounds great,
Yeah.
right? And I love the advice that you're giving.
Right.
Because, as we touched on earlier, I know the kind of shots I want to do in my head. All right? And I'm sure other guys may. But I would have never thought to take the images, like, let's say, I book an event, a time slot so I
Right.
can shoot with you. I would have never thought to, take those shots, put it on Facebook, create a fan page, and then promote myself that way.
Sure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Body Shop, what we're doing is we're showing you ways to brand yourself. Make yourself the star. Don't wait for Hollywood to come to you. You create the buzz and let them come knocking on your door. Don't go chasing the same dollar everyone else is creating. So, John Ryan, thank you very much for that. All right, now, John, let me ask you this right here. Okay. Some rapid fire questions.
Sure.
All right. What do you prefer to shoot? Would you prefer nature shots or people shots?
People.
People shots. Okay. If you were to shoot people, do you prefer them to be tall, short?
I don't have a preference one way or the other. As long as they're interesting, that's all that's important.
Okay. Now, when you say interesting, like, what exactly does that mean? Like, would you rather have somebody walk in like Kai Green, who's has that over the top type of personality, does the the weird predator faces, or is it interesting in the way that they look? They have kind of like a chameleon effect in which you can put them in certain things and they actually become a different person, even though it's the same person there.
Yeah, I'll say both. That's a real, middle of the road answer. But that's the thing. It's all chemistry.
Okay.
I mean, you get somebody who's over the top, and it motivates me, and it's like, oh my God, this guy's up for anything. This girl's up for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get somebody who comes in, and you look at them. And it's like, well, I got an Indiana Jones outfit over there, and you next thing you know, they're cracking a whip, and it's like, hey, this is great.
Right.
Everybody's different. I mean, that's what's important. You gotta make sure that when you deal with a photographer, that photographer is capable of pulling something out of you. You don't want just somebody who documents you.
Right. Okay.
That doesn't do you any good.
Okay. Out of the majority of the magazines that you've submitted people for, okay, which magazine do you feel gives the athlete the fairest look?
Well, probably Muscle and Fitness has been the one that's been the most help to the people that I've talked to, the people that I've shot, that have sent pictures in. Reps is good.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Oxygen. I really do. I think Oxygen, they're looking for new talent all the time.
Okay.
Because they want to have the freshest face. They want to have the newest person. They want to have the possible new trendsetter.
Right.
I'm a big fan of Oxygen magazine. I really am. I think they're amazing.
Okay, now somebody wants to schedule a photo shoot with you, or even just time to sit down and just talk and probably pick your brain some more. How can they do that?
Well, let's see. Probably the easiest way is Facebook. You can find me there, John Ryan. As far as I know, I'm the only one with a picture of a camera next to me. Let's see. My website, which currently is being redone, but it's johnryanphotographer.com. John Ryan Photography is a great wedding photographer in Dublin, Ireland. And,
Okay.
We don't compete in the same field, so I'll let him have the Y.
Right.
That's pretty much it. I'd say those are the best ways to find me: Facebook and my website. Facebook probably more because I think it kind of levels the playing field for a lot of people.
Okay. Now, with the I won't say added addition, so to speak, but with the fitness world, now leaning a lot towards fitness modeling.
Right.
Okay. I don't want to assume that you're just a bodybuilding photographer.
Right.
Okay. But with this question, would you prefer to shoot fitness models or would you prefer to shoot bodybuilders?
Wow, that's a real tough one. I guess I could force myself to shoot the fitness models. No, actually, I would say my shooting is probably 60-40 fitness models to bodybuilders.
Okay.
I shoot a lot more girls than I do guys.
Okay.
But I pay equal attention to both of them because they're different. You can get girls that are just amazing. You get guys that are, oh my God, this guy's he can't do anything wrong.
Right.
I mean, I could close my eyes and point the camera and the pictures will be phenomenal. But right now it's about 60-40.
Okay. Now, with that said, what do you personally, as John Ryan, what do you look for when you take a picture and you want to submit it to a magazine? Like, what are your criteria for submitting a picture to a magazine?
Personality.
Okay.
It has to come through on the picture. I mean, they got to be looking at you. There has to be some sort of engagement from the person in the picture to the viewer, because otherwise, it might as well just be a statue. Because that personality, if it comes through, it just makes everything so much better.
Right.
You have people that really turn on in front of the camera.
Right.
It's just amazing, the transformation. Then when you're all done, they're back, they're ready to go. And it's like, wow, were you even here? This is not the same person that was just here.
Right.
That's what I look for. I want to make sure because, and that's a good example. You go to the bookstores, look at the magazine covers, look at how they're set up. They're always set up so you see the person on the cover's eyes looking out at you. They're always looking directly at you. That's what sells. It's an engagement. People go, wow, I want that magazine because I like that guy. That girl is amazing. Whatever, but they're looking right at me.
Okay.
They're communicating with me.
Right. Okay. Now, as a photographer, and to this day, I can't get one of them to actually side with one option. But would you prefer to shoot black and white or color photos?
Well, I'm going to go middle of the road on you too.
Ladies and gentlemen, here you go. See?
That's a really, 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 really tough question. I mean, I know photographers that strictly shoot black and white. They will not shoot color to save their life. They love black and white that much. People, it's tough. You can shoot somebody in black and white, and they look really bad.
Really?
You shoot them in color, and it's like, oh my God.
Okay.
Personally, I think guys, especially if you want to go gritty, like back to your speed bag,
Yes.
you got to shoot that. You got to shoot it black and white. Because it just adds so much more emotion. It makes it look gritty. It's like the old 1950s film noir.
Okay.
You know, they were always dark.
Right.
You know, there was a lot of punch. There was a lot of there's something going on in the background. It's a real visceral feel to it. So each thing is individual. The nice thing about digital is, you can shoot everything color and convert it to black and white later.
Very true. Very true. All right. Now, John, where exactly is your studio located?
Glastonbury, Connecticut.
Woo! Right near 50 Cent, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
Been to his
Glastonbury,
mansion
Farmington.
twice.
There you go. There you go. See, ladies and gentlemen, you see the quality of of guests that myself and Brian Canone, super producer Mild, brings to you right here on FTNS Radio. All right, now, John, April 16th.
Looking forward to it.
Okay. See, I was going to lead up to it. I want to get the build up, so I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay, okay.
I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, okay. April 16th, 2011, Oakdale Theater. Are you going to be there shooting backstage shots? Or are you
Backstage.
Okay. Backstage shots.
Well, I will shoot the night performance out front, but
Okay.
I will be backstage.
Nice. Now, Brian,
Yep.
with John being backstage,
Yeah.
what like did you learn anything from this interview? Being that you're heavily into photography as well. Come on.
You put me on the spot.
I
Okay.
have to. I have to. I got to ask the tough questions.
Well,
I'm trying to win
you
a
had me
Pulitzer.
learn what the TIFF was. Okay. You had to teach me about the TIFF.
That's right.
Photographer. Okay. What I would like to say is just anybody competing in the show, especially coming to the Fitness Atlantic, is that take the time and go take these backstage pictures. There's a lot of photographers there, like we're saying, a lot of big names, and a lot of times you have to sign up ahead with all these people to do these photo shoots. With John, you take the picture and you see it.
Right.
You see the proof after the show, and if you want to buy it, you buy it. So we're not there hard selling anybody on taking these things. So, the other thing is, if you don't take the shots, how do you expect publicity? A lot of people expect publicity after a show, and everything I heard, even just one person recently, I said, you got to get this person on the cover. And they go, I would if I had a picture.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, just to go along with that, I had a guy contact me about 2 weeks ago for a picture from the 2007 show. Now, I
Really?
still had him up, so
Right.
he could go and
Yeah.
find it and, pick the one. But 2007.
Well,
Wow.
right now we're not going to worry about 2007. We're going to worry about 2011.
No, 2011,
All right, April
yes.
16th at the Oakdale Theater. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank my in-studio co-host, Mr. Brian Canone, my
Andre.
special guest, Mr. John Ryan. I am your host, Andre Brick Sinclair. And never forget, success breeds envy. And the best revenge you can have is to be successful. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you when I see you.